Today I'll read you the chapter, Physical Styling and Aesthetics versus Internal Connection, from my book, The Black and White of Argentine Tango, Both Sides of Tango's Greatest Debates. The purpose of the book is to present both sides as honestly as possible without taking sides. You get the black, you get the white, and then you choose what shade of gray you want to use. Let's start. Physical styling and aesthetics versus internal connection. When you watch a great tango dancer from across the room, what you see first is the form, the long clean lines, the elegant posture, the way the movement seems to arrive exactly where it should, without effort and without hesitation. It looks beautiful, but when you dance with that same person, something else happens, or it should. The question at the heart of this debate is whether those two experiences, looking beautiful and feeling beautiful from the inside, are the same thing. Connected things or two entirely different pursuits that sometimes work against each other. Physical styling and aesthetics. There is a reason tango looks the way it does. The straight lines, the elegant posture, the articulated foot that pushes all the way through to the big toe before leaving the floor. None of these were invented by a choreographer trying to make the dance pretty. They emerge from function, from the body doing what it needs to do in order to move well with another person. Take something as simple as the foot. If you want to push the floor through your base leg until the very last moment of a step, your ankle has to articulate fully and your weight has to travel all the way to the big toe. When you do that, two things happen at once. Your partner can feel exactly where your free leg is going, because the push through the floor communicates your intention clearly through the entire chain of the body. And from the outside, what appears is a long, clean, beautiful line through the foot and leg. The aesthetic and the functional arrive at exactly the same place, but one of them came first. The function produced the beauty, not the other way around. The same logic applies to posture. When the right muscles are engaged and the right muscles are released, when the body is organized in the way that allows it to move freely and communicate clearly, the posture straightens. Not because someone told it to look straight, but because that is the most efficient shape for what it needs to do. A tango teacher who tells a student to straighten their posture is correcting the result. A teacher who helps a student understand why the posture is collapsing, which muscles are not doing their job, which tension is pulling things out of alignment, is correcting the source. The student who learns from the second teacher ends up with the same straight posture as the student who learned from the first. But only one of them knows how they got there, and only one of them can maintain it when the dance gets complicated. This matters enormously in the milonga. When people scan the room deciding who to dance with, they are reading bodies. A dancer who carries themselves with ease and clarity, whose movement looks grounded and present, signals something to potential partners before a single step has been taken. That signal is not vanity. It is information. And in a room full of strangers, that information is often all anyone has to go on. Looking like you dance well is not the same as dancing well, but it is often what opens the door. The styling side is also protecting something that the connection first approach sometimes overlooks: the learning process itself. When a student is asked to pay attention to their form, to how their arm is held or where their weight is placed or how their foot leaves the floor, they are being asked to develop body awareness. That awareness, once built, does not compete with connection. It makes connection possible. You cannot fully attend to your partner if you are struggling with your own body. Developing the form is developing the instrument, and a well-developed instrument can eventually be played without thinking about it at all. Internal connection. There's a kind of tango that looks beautiful from across the room and feels empty from the inside. The lines are clean, the posture is correct, every step arrives where it should. And yet when you step back at the end of the tanda, you realize that for 4 songs, you were dancing with a form, not a person. This experience is real, and it is more common than people like to admit. It happens when the focus on how something looks has replaced the focus on how something feels. when the dancer is attending to their own lines and their own posture and their own presentation rather than to the person in their arms. The partner becomes an accessory to the performance rather than the reason for it. Internal connection asks a different question than aesthetics does. Not how does this look, but how does this feel? And the person whose answer matters is not the observer across the room. It is the partner. Right here, right now, inside the embrace. For dancers who prioritize this, the most important thing a tango can do is make the other person feel genuinely held, genuinely heard, genuinely present with. That quality of presence cannot be faked, and it cannot be produced by perfecting a line or straightening a posture. It comes from actually being there, from giving your full attention to what the other person's body is saying and responding to it honestly, without the part of the mind that is watching itself from the outside and checking whether everything looks correct. The history of how aesthetics came to dominate so much tango teaching is worth understanding. Many of the teachers who spread tango around the world in the late 20th century were performance dancers. They had spent their careers on stage, developing exactly the skills that stages require. Big movements, extreme clarity of line, emotional expression visible from the back row. When they began to teach, students watched them and saw something beautiful. They wanted to move like that. And so the lessons focused on what could be seen on the external form, because that was what the students were responding to. What those students could not see was the internal mechanics that produced the beautiful form. The muscle engagement underneath the elegant posture, the quality of push through the floor that created the clean line, the sensitivity to a partner's body that made every movement feel inevitable rather than imposed. The performance dancers had all of that, but many of them had developed it so long ago and so naturally that they could no longer describe the path that led there. They had the destination but had forgotten the journey, so they taught what they could show, and what they could show was the outside. The result is a tango community where many dancers have learned to imitate the appearance of things without understanding what produces that appearance. They hold their arm at the right height because they were told to, not because they understand why that height serves the two partners. They straighten their posture because a teacher corrected them, not because they feel how a straight posture changes what they can offer the person in their arms. Note, by straight posture, we don't mean straight spine, as the spine has always natural curves. The Curious Tanguero Lab, a 2-day workshop that takes place in tango communities around the world, and the Tangofulness Immersions, 4-day deep tango intensives held in Portugal, are among the few spaces that work specifically on this, finding the root causes of movement problems rather than correcting only their surface appearance, so that form and function can finally become the same thing again. Because at its best, they are. A dance that feels truly connected and alive tends to look beautiful, not because anyone is trying to make it look beautiful, but because the body moving in genuine relationship with another body, with honest weight and honest attention and honest response, produces a particular quality that is recognizable from anywhere in the room. The aesthetics follow the connection. They do not replace it. I hope you enjoyed that chapter of the book, The Black and White of Argentine Tango, Both Sides of Tango's Greatest Debates. You can find the book on Amazon for worldwide delivery. Just type The Black and White of Argentine Tango and allow yourself to dive deep into Argentine Tango's greatest debates.